Hello and welcome back. This video is in continuation of the Cadbury report and will give an overview about some other global codes on corporate governance. So this will cover the Greenberry Committee, Hampel report, Combined Code of Best Practices and Blue Ribbon Committee. The Greenberry Committee. The Confederation of Business and Industry formed a group under the chairmanship of Sir Richard Greenberry to examine directors' remuneration. The committee followed the tradition of the Cadbury report and addressed a growing concern about the level of directors' remuneration. Their code of best practices was endorsed by the listing rules aiming for establishment of remuneration committee. The committee submitted its report in 1995. The notable recommendations of the committee were on disclosure provisions, remuneration policy, service contracts, and compensations. So the following are the recommendations: that the compensation committee should be composed exclusively of independent directors. The annual composition committee report should disclose pay details of all executive directors, including pension provisions, investment pay, option plans, performance measurements, severance agreements, and comparisons with similar companies. Executive pay should not be excessive. Employee contracts should not extend for no longer than a year, so as a rule out multi-year a golden handshake payoff in the event an executive is dismissed or the company is taken over. New long-term incentive plans should replace, not supplement, existing stock option plans. The Hampel report. The Hampel committee was established in 1996 to review and revise the earlier recommendations of the Cadbury and the Greenberry committee. It asked whether the code's original purpose was being achieved. Hampel found that there was no need for a revolution in the UK governance systems. The report aimed to combine, harmonize, and clarify the Cadbury and Greenberry recommendations. Combined Code on Corporate Governance was applied to all listed companies from December 31, 1998. Major recommendations of the committees are establishment of audit committee of at least 3 non-executive directors. Board should maintain a sound system of internal controls to safeguard shareholders' investments. Board should present a balanced and understandable assessment of the company's positions and prospects. Board should establish formal and transparent arrangements for maintaining an appropriate relationship with the company's auditors. The board was to be held accountable for all aspects of risk management as opposed to just the financial controls as recommended by Cadbury Committee. We now go to the next one, and that is the Combined Code of Best Practices. Combined Code of Best Practices supersedes and replaces the Combined Code issued by the Hampel Committee on Corporate Governance in June 1998. It derives from a review of the roles and effectiveness of non-executive directors by Derek Hicks and a review of audit committees by a group led by Sir Robert Smith. The important recommendations of these committees are an effective board that is collectively responsible for the success of the company should head every company. There should be a clear division of responsibilities at the head of the company between the running of the board and the executive responsibilities for running of the company's business. No one individual shall have unfettered powers of decision. The board should include a balance of executives and non-executive directors, and in particular independent non-executive directors, such that no individual or small group of individuals can dominate the board's decision taking. Appointment to the board should be made on merit and against above criteria. Care should be taken to ensure that appointees have enough time available to devote. The board should be supplied in a timely manner with information in a form and of a quality appropriate to enable it to discharge its duties. The board should undertake a formal and a rigorous annual evaluation of its own performance and that of its committees and individual directors. Directors of a quality required to run the company successfully, but a company should avoid paying more than it's necessary for this purpose. The board should establish formal and transparent arrangements for considering how they should apply the financial reporting and internal control principles. And the last one, and that is the Blue Ribbon Committee. The origins of Blue Ribbon Committee lies in an initiative of the Securities and Exchange Commission in 1998. Its objective was to develop recommendations for audit committees, enabling them more effectively to fulfill their functions as defenders of the interest of investors. In February 1999, the committee published the Blue Ribbon Committee report on improving the effectiveness of corporate audit committee. The report contains 10 recommendations which are called as the best practices for audit committees designed to improve accounting. So in 1999, the recommendations of the Blue Ribbon Committee were adopted and declared to be mandated by all the New York Stock Exchange, the American Stock Exchange and NASDAQ and the American Institute of Certified Public Accountant. The 10 recommendations in the Blue Ribbon report are: members of the audit committee to be independent of the company, the audit committee to be composed exclusively of non-executive directors, the audit committee to consist of at least 3 members with specialist expertise in the field of finance and accounting. The audit committee must have a clear charter. The external auditors to be accountable to the board of directors and particularly to the audit committee. The external auditors to report annually on their independence from the company. The audit committee to discuss the quality of accounting principles with the external auditor. The audit committee to prepare a report on its activities, and quarterly financial statements to undergo a critical review by the external auditors. So all this in this video. Thank you.